Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you're on this YouTube channel. All I need you to do is go to my home page and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I promise you guys amazing and mind-blowing content. You can go back to my previous videos on what I make videos about lifestyle and skincare. Just go to my home page and subscribe to my YouTube channel, so each time I post a new video you'll be notified. Thank you. Guys, today I'll be talking about imposter syndrome. You might have heard about imposter syndrome before, and this might be your first time of hearing it. But today I'll be talking about imposter syndrome, the effect of imposter syndrome, the triggers and the ways to combat imposter syndrome. If this is your first time of hearing imposter syndrome is that feeling you have despite everything you've achieved in life. That feeling you feel like a fraud. You feel like most of the things you've achieved in your life, you don't deserve it. You feel like you're living the life of someone else. You feel like, okay, even if I have written a lot of books, I've gotten a lot of awards, and you might even be in a room where a lot of people are praising you for your accomplishment, and you just be like, do these people know that I don't even deserve it? Maybe I don't deserve it. It's that feeling of self-doubt of your abilities and strength. You doubt yourself that, okay, maybe the things that you've achieved in your life were just products of sheer luck, and maybe you were just lucky and you didn't really work to deserve what you have achieved in life. It is that feeling of not being complete, and no matter how much you've achieved, you just feel like, what if I'm living someone else's life? What if this is not my life? Imposter syndrome is that sense of insecurity you have at everything, almost everything you do, because people are praising you. You might have done a lot of great things. People are praising you. Even you have people that are looking up to you. You have people that are inspired by what you're doing. But you yourself, you're feeling like, God, did I really do this? Like, do I deserve this? Maybe someone else did it, and what if someone finds out that I'm not as great as people are portraying me? Do these people even know that I'm insecure? And all that. If you are feeling this way, if you felt this way in any point of your life, I want to tell you that you're not alone. Imposter syndrome happens to a lot of people, and it often happens to people who have done a great deal of work in their life. If you have that imposter syndrome feeling, I want to tell you, you're not an imposter. If you find yourself in that room where you are being given an award, if you find yourself in that room where you are being praised for your accomplishment, tell yourself that you deserve to be there. Because the thing is, if you didn't work towards that achievement, if you didn't work for it, you'll never be in that room. If you didn't, put effort in that thing you've done, there's no way that thing would have come out the way it did. There's no way that thing would have been accomplished. So just take a deep breath and tell yourself that even though I'm feeling like a fraud, I am not a fraud. Everything I am getting now is what I have worked for. Because this feeling comes when you've been in a terrible situation for a long time, and you've been working, and then things finally become rosy. You still feel like, God, maybe I'm still meant to be in that terrible situation I was. Tackling imposter syndrome is a step-by-step process, and you have to be patient with yourself during this process, because imposter syndrome effects are bad. We'll talk about the effects later in this video. But first of all, if you want to deal with imposter syndrome, we have to talk about the things that trigger imposter syndrome. So guys, let's talk about the triggers of imposter syndrome. The first one I'll talk about is unhealthy background and child development. I feel like the way we are right now, we're shaped from our upbringing and the things we've gone through since we were kids. The way we were brought up, our orientation, our beliefs, our parents' beliefs, our parents' orientation, and all. And if you look at it closely, your childhood development can trigger imposter syndrome. Look at it in this way. If while growing up as a child, you had strict parents that wanted everything to be perfect, there was no room to make mistakes. And when you made the slightest mistake, they will talk you down, they will say negative and terrible things to you. Living with a parent that has anger issues, I don't think it's easy to come out, unscratched and mentally healthy. And sometimes when you are not even at fault, the parents will transfer aggressions on you. It might be anger from work, and then you just have to take everything. So if you grew up as someone who is constantly being blamed at every mistake you make, and then you receive a lot of negative self-talk from your parents, it can be hard to tackle imposter syndrome. And don't be surprised if you have imposter syndrome, because from your childhood you've been made to believe that you're not good enough and nothing you do is ever good enough. And so it's not surprising when you even question all your abilities, because they keep telling you that okay, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right, and you're always aiming to seek perfection. So at that moment when you just try and do something out of the ordinary, you feel as if you are a fraud. You feel that is not who you are. You feel that you don't deserve the things you've achieved. So your background shapes your beliefs, your background shapes the perception you have about yourself. For people that grew up with alcoholic parents, it must not have been easy, because it's not easy dealing with an alcoholic parent, and there's no way it will not reflect in your upbringing. So childhood development is also a trigger of imposter syndrome. Another one I'll talk about, guys, is constant criticisms. If you get a lot of criticisms from families, from friends, from the society at large, and even where you work, you might deal with imposter syndrome. For example, if you have a boss that wants everything you do to be perfect, it can be hard to deal with imposter syndrome, because you keep feeling that you've made a mistake, you are not doing things perfectly, and whatnot. So constant criticisms from people can also reflect in the way you view yourself. It can mess with your self-confidence and self-esteem. Another trigger of imposter syndrome is social media. Often we go online and we see other people's lives, and we just feel like our own is not perfect. We feel like we are lagging behind, because everybody is not posting their failures. Everybody is just posting their bling bling, their successes on social media, but nobody is posting their struggles. Nobody is posting when they are crying to their pillow at night. So social media is also a trigger. Like, I even feel like it's the number one trigger nowadays of feeling like you're a fraud. Even after accomplishing a lot of things, you might still feel like okay, you have not done enough, because other people's idea of success has made you believe that yours is not enough. Another trigger of imposter syndrome is the society. The society can tell you that okay, this is how this thing is meant to be. The society can tell you that okay, this is how your life, if your life is not this particular way, your life is not good. If your life is not this particular way, your life is not perfect. Before we talk about how to combat imposter syndrome, what are the effects of imposter syndrome? Because guys, even though imposter syndrome is not a disease, it's also something that you want to make sure that is not in your life. If imposter syndrome lingers on, it can bring a lot of terrible effects. The first effect of imposter syndrome is anxiety. If you struggle with imposter syndrome, there are chances that you experience anxiety, because you are constantly panicking and telling yourself that God, is this thing perfect yet? Am I doing the right thing? And even after you've achieved, you are still anxious on what people will say. You're always anxious about other people's opinions of your life. So imposter syndrome can lead to anxiety, and which will lead me to the second one. When you have anxiety, you start getting depressed. That's another effect of imposter syndrome. It can lead to depression, and we know how depression can be, guys. Depression kills. So you want to make sure you don't have imposter syndrome in your life. I know it is not easy. Depression can be an eye effect of imposter syndrome, because you are constantly thinking every day that you are not meant to be where you are. You are living someone else's life. You are a fraud. You don't even deserve all the things you are getting. So imposter syndrome can lead to depression, guys. Imposter syndrome can also lead to unachieved dreams and unfinished projects, because you keep aiming at perfection. You keep thinking that okay, all the things I've gotten, I don't deserve it. So once you complete one task and you're just sitting there and you feel like, okay, I'm not meant to be here, I'm living someone else's life, and then you just abandon that project, you just abandon the dreams you've been building to achieve just because you're feeling like it is not meant for you. Imposter syndrome can also lead to addiction, guys, because by the time you are anxious and depressed, you might resort to harmful substances. You can become an alcoholic, and you can just keep drinking and drinking and drinking and getting sad every day, wasting your life because you keep thinking that you are not who you are meant to be. Finally, imposter syndrome can lead to suicide or death. Yes, imposter syndrome can lead to suicide or death. Can you guys see now that imposter syndrome is not something you should accommodate in your life? Because by the time people think that, okay, I'm living someone else's life, and they harbor that thought in their mind every day, it can drive someone to suicide. It can drive someone to like killing oneself, and you just don't find your purpose in life. So you have to define your purpose in life. So guys, now let's talk about how to combat imposter syndrome. The first one I will talk about is talk about it. See guys, in life there are chances that that thing you are going through, someone else around you is going through it. So don't die in silence. Speak out. Talk to a therapist. Share your thoughts. Don't bury all these negative thoughts in you. Talk to someone. Talk to people that will let you see the potentials you are not seeing in yourself. Talk to people that would always tell you that, guy, you deserve everything you've been getting. You don't even know how hard you've worked for this. So talk to people that will always bring up your spirit. Don't surround yourself with negative people that will bring you down the more. Identify that voice. It's important to identify the voice, because once you can identify that voice, that background voice that is telling you that you're not enough, you're a step closer to combating imposter syndrome. You have to first of all identify that voice that is always telling you this and that. Identify the negative things you're telling yourself. Identify all those negative emotions you have. Don't just shove it aside. It is not weakness, guys. So identify that voice that is telling you all these negative things, and once you identify that voice, talk to someone about it. And the third way to dealing with imposter syndrome is being vulnerable. Guys, vulnerability is no weakness. And I know a lot of us were raised to see vulnerability as weakness. A lot of us were raised to see you can't even be yourself. You can't let other people see you being weak. You can't let other people see you crying. Guys, the more you push back all these emotions inside you, the more you are killing yourself every day. So you have to be vulnerable. Tell yourself that I deserve to be happy in life. I deserve to, live a fulfilled life. You can't spend your whole life living in agony and regret. When you are vulnerable, that's when you'll be able to talk and share your emotions with other people that can relate and uplift your spirit. Another way to combat imposter syndrome is stop trying to be perfect. You can't be perfect. Stop trying to aim at perfection. And I understand this if you were raised by parents who always want everything to be perfect. They don't want you to make mistakes. They're trying to control every bit of your life. But tell yourself, I am still beautiful in my imperfections. Even the world is not perfect. There's good, there's bad in the world. So don't stop trying to aim at perfection, because the constant struggle of you aiming at perfection is what is triggering your imposter syndrome. So maybe if you stop aiming at perfection, you stop feeling like a fraud almost every time you achieve something great. Also guys, make the decision. I'm not the one to tell you this, but make the decision to leave people and situations that trigger your imposter syndrome. For example, if you work in a toxic workplace, I think you need to leave that place. Except if you can manage the situation, which I won't even advise you to do, because it's not good for your mental health. Guys, desist from lingering or associating with anything that is not good for your mental health, because you have to prioritize yourself, guys. You have to prioritize yourself, which will bring me to the next one: self-love and patience. Love yourself, guys, because if you don't love yourself, who else is going to love you? You need to love every part of you. Be patient when you are not so great at that thing you are doing. Be patient through every process of your growth, guys. Be patient with yourself and love yourself. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. If you've enjoyed this video and if you can relate to this video, kindly click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on all socials. I will see you in my next video. Bye.